welcome to Shooby Dooby Doo-Wop Part 2, a podcast where we talk about pop music. We're halfway through our deep dive of the UK Top 10 Singles Chart of the 16th of September 1974. I'm Andy Robinson.
And I'm James Cook.
Hey James, since we're having a look at Part 2, what do you think we should we dive straight in or should we recap numbers 10 to 6?
I think it's only polite to recap.
A non-mover at number 10, it's Na 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 by Cozy Powell.
Shares much of its DNA with a banana.
Up 6 to 9, it's Queen of Clubs by Casey and the Sunshine Band.
This song is the most...
Up 8 to... Most what? Up 8 to 8, Can't Get Enough of Your Love, Babe by Barry White.
They say that too much of anything is no good for you, but that's not the case with this classic.
Up 2 to 7, it's You, or You by Alvin Stardust.
Alvin, a.k.a. Shane, a.k.a. Bernard, shares his disappointing A-level results.
And down 2 to number 6, it's Aviva España by Sylvia.
The anthem of 70s package holidays abroad.
All of the songs featured can be found on our Spotify and YouTube playlist. Links are in the description. We always like to give you a gentle reminder to have a listen to these songs, don't we, James?
And if you join our Patreon community, you can get access to our bonus tracks podcast. Half a dozen songs that are on our playlists, but that never made the top 10, but we feel the need to talk about them, and it goes a little something like this.
A bit calypso, a bit reggae.
It's Regipso.
Also, Bernie Taupin was married to a crocodile, wasn't he? So
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. She was also a crocodile.
Yeah.
Who lived on a yellow brick road.
She was a pop star invented and someone had to fit into the role, or did Pauline smoking a fag go, I don't want to be called Pauline, I want to be called Kiki.
Can I be Kiki D? And it's the most.
It really is the most. Daddy-o. At the very bitter end of this week's top 10, this is one of my favourite facts ever you've dragged out here.
Join our community now at patreon.com/ShoobyPodcast.
Number 5.
Down 2 places to number 5. I'm Living It All Up to You, Babe, by Donny and Marie Osmond. And I've said it like that because that's how they do it in the song. There's a big pause halfway through the line in the chorus, and it makes me laugh every time.
It is a brilliant... I'm living it up to you, whatever it is. It's an unusual... bit of scanning, isn't it? Now, if a songwriter would say, that sounds awkward, that sounds weird, but that is almost a hook, isn't it? Comes in twice early on. I'm leaving it all to you, lovely. So they're singing great together, harmonies sound brilliant, the orchestration sounds beautiful. I mean, I can't say it's one of the greatest songs of all time, but it's absolutely worked for me this week.
Donny's 16, Marie's 14 here. They are brother and sister, and that makes it a bit weird that they're singing this song.
Yes, it has a touch of the, let's call it the Nancy and Franks about it, but I like to ignore all this.
I worship the ground that you work on. They're Mormons, that's not what they worship.
What do Mormons worship?
Well, I went to see Book of Mormon recently. They worship some golden plates that no one's ever seen.
Fact.
Well, opinion.
Because of the sibling nature of their relationship, again, you know, it's one of them things where family members sing together. The voices blend so well, don't they?
Yes, it's very pleasant. The Osmonds were coming to the end of their imperial phase at this point, and the soloists, so Donny and Marie, and then later little Jimmy, would come more to the fore.
I learned this week as well from looking at YouTube comments, as of time of recording, Wayne Osmond has recently died only 3 weeks ago. Rest in peace, Wayne. Thank you for your contribution.
This song, written in 1957 by Don Sugarcane Harris and Dewey Terry, and it was a US number 1 in 1963 for Dale and Grace, not to be confused with Hale and Pace. Just rhyme with it.
Yeah. I'll have to check that version out. I think it's a lovely song, this.
Yeah, it was the number 1 when John F. Kennedy was assassinated.
Really?
In fact, Dale and Grace had been in Dallas that day, and they had waved to the motorcade a few minutes before the assassination.
How deep does this thing go?
Yeah. Were Dale and Grace responsible for the assassination of John F. Kennedy? And if not, was it Hale and Pace?
As of time, I know you don't like when I bring him in. As of time recording, Donald Trump's just first week in power. Now he's opening the JFK files. I'd like to see these two singers being dragged into it.
What if they open the files and it's just a copy of that record?
On YouTube, Mike Stone King 91. I mean, loads of people, James, are going about how much they love this record, how much they love Donny Marie. Because it's YouTube, loads of people are going, it reminds me of my dead mum and dad. You know, fine. Pretty much what you'd expect. But Mike Stone king of and whatever. He says, I will never stop my baby from doing whatever they want to do. Now, this seemed such a strange place for a parent to start virtue signalling in the middle of YouTube comments.
I don't think it's a parent, is it? I think he's referring to the song.
What would you stop Marie Osmond from doing deep down?
Well,
Singing sexy songs with her brother by the sound of it.
And that continued. They had an 11-year residency in Las Vegas, Donnie and Marie, during which time Marie came third on Dancing with the Stars in 2007, behind Mel B, but ahead of Jane Seymour and Floyd Mayweather Jr.
You hit it to her, Marie.
Donnie won Dancing with the Stars in 2009, so suck it, Marie, beating Kelly Osbourne and Macy Gray. Donnie also came second on the first series of The Masked Singer, beating Gladys Knight.
Wow.
But losing to T-Pain.
Right. Yeah, well, I mean, good credentials. Beating Gladys Knight you'd be bragging about for a bit, wouldn't you?
You know why? She didn't have the pips with her.
Nice.
She's nothing without the pips.
It's a simple country song, isn't it? Yeah, beautiful. Check it out on Spotify. Give yourself 3 minutes of joy.
Number 4.
Up to number 4, it's Johnny Bristol with Hang On In There, Baby. Again, another record this week, James. Let me get my guitar. He's sort of going whatever it is. D, B minor, E minor, a bit of a C and A. But again, you can go, hang on in the baby, hang on in the well.
It's a well song.
Another well
Hooray.
song for me. Thanks, Johnny Bristol. It's also got the key change in, maybe 3 or 4 key changes. I got lost because it was so discombobulated.
So it's very similar to sort of the Barry White record, isn't
man.
it? In terms of the production and a little bit about subject matter as well, but also in the fact that Johnny Bristol is the writer-producer of the record. I don't think I mentioned it at the time. Barry White wrote and produced Can't Get Enough of Your Love, Babe.
Yes, I mean, the Walrus of Love would certainly be tipping his flipper at this record, wouldn't he? It sounds quite like it. I don't know much about Johnny Bristol. Tell me all about him. He's a Motown singer, producer, songwriter, isn't he?
Oh, it turns out you do know loads about him. Yeah, that's what he was. In the 60s and early 70s. He wrote and produced on Ain't No Mountain High Enough, 25 Miles by Edwin Starr, among many, many others, and would go on to produce for Tom Jones, Marlena Shaw, Johnny Mathis, Boz Scaggs, and so on and so on and so on.
I was also reminded, here's the voice on Diana Ross and Supreme's We'll Be Together, Someday We'll Be Together. Is the male vocalist on that, so they're going, Someday We'll Be Together. And I'm pretty sure Johnny Bristol goes, well, at some point. Maybe he invented it.
You're just hearing it everywhere now, aren't you?
Can't stop it. It's really annoying, actually.
Do you remember a cover version of this song in the 90s, I want to say?
Was it by some, like, one of the EastEnders lot or something?
No. I don't think so. No.
Who was it?
Curiosity.
I've Killed the Cat fame.
Yeah, but they got rid of Killed the Cat from their name by this point because I think they wanted to be taken more seriously, yeah? So they just called themselves Curiosity, and that matches this song for getting to number 3 in the charts.
I should have mentioned Taylor Dane does a great cover of the Barry White song, which I forgot all about as well, but let's call that a drive-by shooting of a fact. All right then, well, this is good. Johnny Bristol. Now, if he was alive, I'd look at YouTube comments. If Johnny Bristol was still alive, and if the YouTube comments was a bar, Johnny Bristol would have no trouble pulling. I mean, it's been amazing looking at these. There's always a touch when you look at YouTube comments of, oh, they're a heartthrob, they're a honey, I love them. There is an outpouring of lust for Johnny Bristol in the YouTube comments. Loads of women, mainly women I'm presuming, going a little bit loopy for him. They are warm for his form.
He's a very handsome man. What do you think of the sentiment of the song there? Hang on in there, baby.
It's a seductive song, isn't it? And what he's basically trying to do, James, is not a virgin. He says it explicitly.
Oh, yeah, he does. Don't be afraid, baby, sweet virgin of the world. You know we can't help but make it, because there's true love between us, girl. So let us touch that cloud that everyone dreams of. What's that? What cloud?
Don't you know about the cloud that everyone
What cloud?
dreams of? Okay.
What are you all dreaming about a cloud for? And how come I don't know about it?
Email us into shoobypodcast@gmail and explain to James what the hell this cloud is. He's gone the full Marvin Gaye in some ways, and the Walrus of Love, and let's call it Sex Pest on it. Yet he sounds so convincing. We'll hear the thunder roar, feel the lightning strike. At a point we'll both decide to meet at the same time tonight. Well.
Something's eating at you and it's hard to get away. Yeah, I bet it is.
I like it at the end when he's saying, give it a stand-up now fashion and give it a jump up. And then he goes, give it a jam. Then he says, give it a pull, which we thought, bearing in mind what the subject of this song is, it sounds, well, you just touch it.
I think he's playing Bop It. I think that's what's going on there.
We're being silly because, just for fun, really. I mean, it's a beauty, this record. I've been bopping around to this while talking of Bop It.
I like any song that makes huge promises that there's no way he can realistically keep. I'm going to give you more than you ever dreamed possible. I don't know, Johnny, my dreams are quite big. Although I don't dream of clouds, it turns out.
On YouTube, Diane White Clayton says, my husband plays congas on this, so well done, Mr. Clayton.
He plays with his what? I'm implying it's his testicles.
Well, like I say, I'd feel bad usually talking about this record in such a sexualised manner, but nonetheless... There seems to be a lot of it about when Johnny Bristol's telling you to hang on in there, baby.
Because hang on in there means wait, doesn't it? Just wait a minute.
Yeah?
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's sexy about telling someone to wait?
James, you're revealing far too much about, let's call it, your eagerness. Just a little bit of hang on in there. We're taking our time, baby. As he says, don't you move it anywhere. He's in no rush. Sweet, slow love, as Prince sung about.
Well.
Number 3.
2 places to number 3. It will get to number 1. It's Annie's Song by John Denver. Or should I say, Henry John Duschendorf Jr., for that was what he was called when he was born in 1943. Do you know where he's from?
John Denver?
Roswell, New Mexico.
No way.
In 1943. He's an alien.
And yet...
He's an alien from space, sent down to send us lovely songs.
And yet he's presented often, or seems to be an all-American boy, but we're saying not so in this case.
He died in a plane crash, or maybe he flew back to his home planet.
Was Cozy Powell involved? I'm going to reiterate for no reason whatsoever. I feel like this song, obviously you know it. I might have known it all my life since it came out. I might have been aware of it vaguely at least. Sometimes, James, I like this about a song. Sometimes your life is ready for you to receive a song, and I'm going to say this week with Annie's Song, it has filled up my senses. It's beautiful, isn't it?
It is. It's equating the love you feel with the beauty and majesty of nature. Do you know where he was when he wrote this song?
No.
He wrote it on a ski lift in Aspen, Colorado. He said he wrote it in about 10 minutes. He was on this ski lift going up, and he was looking around at all the mountains and the trees and all that, and he was like, everything's really, really beautiful. That reminds me of that woman I'm with. And then he wrote the song.
I mean, let's talk about the things that do fill up his senses in the first stanza, at least. Like a night in a forest. I mean, that's evocative, isn't it? You know what a night in a forest feels like, and how full your
terrifying.
senses are. Yeah,
terrifying. You fill up my senses with absolute horror. If I was I can't be in a forest at night.
Yet you are fully aware and alive in the moment, like the mountains in springtime. I can't imagine you hang around many springtime mountains, James. Like a walk in the rain, you know that feeling. Like a storm in the desert, you know of that feeling. It's sleepy blue ocean. I am pretty sure on this record that when he sings the first line of "You fill up my senses like a night in the forest," somewhere in, let's call it, the right-hand soundscape of this record, when I had my ear pods on listening to it, essentially, he goes, "You fill up my senses like a night in a forest," and you hear a woman go, "Ah," you hear a little sigh in it.
Oh, I thought you were going to say there was like forest noises.
No?
Like a night in the forest.
I am 99% certain that is there, but sometimes I imagine... There we go, Kelly.
Hey, this is a jungle.
I mean, the song itself, it's a 6/8 times some sort of waltzy type thing anyway. There's a beautiful string arrangement that comes in halfway through that lifts it and takes it somewhere else. On YouTube, Godless Heathen says, "Such a beautifully written song. Shame no one does it these days." I'm going to say you're a bit of a nana, Godless Heathen, because loads of people do it, but nonetheless. And looking at YouTube, I mean, if you made a word cloud of the comments, beautiful would be the biggest word in the centre, and like tears and reminds. It's very evocative for a lot of people. I like it. The BG Frog on YouTube says, "My mum just died. I came here to hear a connection to memory," which I think is something we all do now and again, yeah?
Yeah, get that little Proustian rush from the things we listened to years ago. "You fill up my senses, come fill me again." Is this about pegging?
Yeah, it is. John Denver has got a big peg on. Let me see.
Well, he's an alien. He likes to probe.
Let me die in your arms, and things are going to go wrong as far as John Denver. He doesn't get his kicks unless it goes fatally wrong at the end. Let me lay down beside you. Let me always be with you.
All right.
Sorry, I got so excited. What you did there was open a little door and I've dived straight into it saying John Denver's a sex pest. Which he's not. I'm being stupid.
Well, that's not making it in. Why would Sean Bean sing this song to a chip butty?
First of all, I never call him Sean Bean. I like to call him Scene Born. But why would he sing this song to a chip butty?
What do we know about Sean Bean?
Is it something to do with Sheffield United?
It is something to do with Sheffield United.
A million pop points to me. Why?
The fans' version of Annie's song called the Chip Butty song, which is what you fill up my senses like, and it's like a list of things that Sheffield United fans like to do, and one of them's a chip butty.
Right. Sometimes, James, I feel like life would provide you with the right time to like a song. And I've this week listened to this chart from 1974. It's filled me up. It's filled up my senses.
All 5 of them.
For all its beauty and originality, I mean, there is a touch of something we've discussed before. At the beginning, James, here he is, playing it in D, I imagine. You fill up my senses like a night in a forest. Right?
Travelodge.
And then from the word travelodge, which, thank you, copyright.
Yeah, copyright.
So he goes, you fill up my senses like a night in a travelodge. And then after that word, it comes travelodge. In the rain. Now that chord change, the last time we did it, it's in a waltz time, but nonetheless it's the same chords of only you can set me free. Remember that chord change? Because I'm guilty. Same chord change. What I like to call the Betty chord change, because Taylor Swift done a song very similar. Pictures of Lily. As I say, whenever that shows up in a week's top 10, I'll always call it out. Not criticising it. I like people carrying on that tradition.
And it's a waltz, as you point out. It's in 3/4 time.
Or 6/8. I get confused, so I don't
What's
really
the
know what I'm
difference between 3/4 and 6/8?
We haven't got time. Let's move on.
But I must know.
I think I might have more to say.
Can I say that John Denver was in an episode of The Muppets?
Please do. We haven't had a Muppets fact for yet, have we? This show.
Yeah, that's it. He was on an episode of The Muppets. That's it.
James, you think the Muppets are almost responsible for all of pop music? You think they are the cultural bedrock that all pop music must spring from? A little bit like the Delta, when people talk about the blues and the songs of slavery all came from the South?
Nah, they're a mirror. They mirror pop culture, the Muppets.
Number 2.
It's last week's number 1. It's number 2. It's the Osmonds with Love Me For A Reason.
And let that reason be love.
Yeah. A beautiful song. I mean, you know, Westlife sang this back in the day.
No.
Boyzone sang this back in the day. And, you know, I used to leave the radio on, watch it on Top of the Pops and enjoy it just because the song is so strong. And, you know, Westlife are my favourites. What?
Boyzone. Do you know who wrote this song?
Yes, I saw it in YouTube comments. It's only old Johnny Bristol, isn't it?
Yeah, there he goes at number 4 and number 2 in the charts this week.
Yeah.
Hanging on in there.
Do you know who arranged it? Don Costa, who also arranged and produced Frank Sinatra, so it's got all that pedigree.
Which one of the Osmonds sings the lead?
I believe it to be Merrill.
Merrill sings the lead. The other Osmonds on this track are Wayne, Alan, Jay and Donny.
What's the best bit of this record?
Probably the fact that every time I've heard this song, whether it's this version or the Boyzone version, in my head the lyric goes, "Don't love me for fun, Gus." Like you're singing to someone called Gus.
I like it, yeah.
Yeah.
Or you've got some sort of dreadful infection around your toenails.
What is the best bit of this song?
My favourite bit is when they go, where everybody's singing between a woman and a man. The back of the book, between a woman and a man. It reminded me of Take That. It kind of, this boy band thing made me think how much at the forefront the Osmonds were of, let's call it, you know, just that general new era, if you like, of boy bands.
Yes, and this was their only UK number 1. They only had 5 top 10 hits. Osmonds in the 70s, you'd think, oh, they must have been in the charts all the time, but not really. And this is, as I say, towards the end of the Osmonds imperial phase.
On YouTube, this week I've recorded, it seems to be only 2 or 3 weeks ago that Wayne Osmond has died. British people, we're often seen as, let's call it, quite stuck up about expressing grief, aren't we? On YouTube, loads of Americans upset and paying tribute to Wayne. There's one British person, but they're just going, well, we've got to move on with life and let's move.
Come on, let's have none of this colonial nonsense. And good for Wayne, because now he gets his own planet.
Huh?
That's what the Mormons believe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I saw Book of Mormon, so now I'm an expert. They were Mormons. They were supposed to go on their mission, the Osmonds, but they were given special dispensation by the Mormon church to not have to go on a mission, because they were like, well, you're travelling around the world singing songs. That's kind of a mission. You can do that instead.
Spreading the word in a much more effective way.
It's a good way to get out of having to do missionary work, form a singing group with your brothers and be hugely successful.
I cannot argue with that. Hey, it's got a key change in. There's another one this week. And a bit of a modulation, which we won't get into.
Why not? Why can't we get into the modulation, Andy?
Because a little bit like the 3/4 and the 6/8 and all that, I'm not 100% sure how. I know what it is, but I don't know how to explain it. Which is true of life, isn't it? In many ways, I sort of know. I know what it is, but I just can't get my head around putting it into
Just
words.
makes me feel like you've got hidden secrets that you won't tell me. Love me for a reason and let the reason be love. That's circular logic, isn't it?
Yes. I mean,
Is that intentional?
well, of course. I mean, all these musicians who turned up at recording studios, all the people who sang the song, did they intend to do it? I would say yes, but I get you. So he's saying, "Love me for a reason." And so he wants a reason, but the only one reason he really wants. He doesn't say, "Love me because of my job."
Love me because of my lovely hair and teeth.
Nope.
Love me because of my access to Donny Osmond. The reason should be love.
Did you like the Westlife cover of it?
Boyzone. And no.
No. So even the song wouldn't stand up to you. I was watching an old Top of Pops the other day, and some boy band, I can't remember who it was, but they did them singing Let Me In, the other Osmonds song, which was a big hit. And the Osmonds just had such great songs. Even this, let's call it anemic boy band from the 90s doing it over a drum beat, such a strong song.
It's not to do with the song, it's to do with where I was at that time. I was, a teenager, and I was into guitar music, yeah. So I didn't like boy bands, actually. I thought they were really bad and evil. So that's why.
I like the fact that Osmonds all dress in white, and to distinguish themselves, there's a little splash of colour of a neckerchief or something, a little shirt of a purple and yellow and black and gold and blue and green.
And later, Donny Osmond would wear all of those colours when he played Joseph in Joseph and His Amazing Technical Dreamcoat.
So once again, James, what we are doing is tying fragments of the pop universe together and making a really complicated, tangled knot out of it for no reason whatsoever that we can't unpick.
Do you think, much like in the plot of Joseph, Donny was once beaten up by his brothers and smeared with goat blood?
Let's say yeah.
Yeah, that definitely happened.
The UK's number one.
Up one to number one. As you can tell, it's Kung Fu Fighting by Carl Douglas.
Yes, it is Kung Fu Fighting. Doodle-dee. This was a little bit for E minor, and that's pretty much that song covered musically. I mean, what a treat it's been to hear this week. Of course, I've known this all my life. This was a record I alluded to at the beginning that I felt I've been aware of. Kung Fu Fighting is a cultural phenomenon.
It is a perfect example, I think, of the right record coming out at exactly the right time, isn't it? Because it's early disco, it's sort of mid-Kung Fu craze. Enter the Dragon had come out the year before, the TV show Kung Fu had been on, and more people in the UK and in America were getting into martial arts and all that kind of stuff.
And every time if there's a clip on a film or a television program or even on a radio documentary, not even about Kung Fu, about martial arts, what are you going to hear? You're going to ho, 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 ho. Every time. It's almost owned martial arts, this song.
And it's very, very timely because, even the follow-up single that Carl Douglas did to this.
I was going to look into Carl, because when I was thinking about it, I thought he must have cashed in on this song.
He did do another single called Dance the Kung Fu. It only got to number 35.
Yeah.
I mean, the chorus sounds a bit like Kung Fu Fighting, but not as good. Do you know what the album is that this is from?
I would imagine it's something to do with Kung Fu.
It's such a brilliant title for the album. The album is called Kung Fu Fighting and Other Love Songs. Well played. Well played, Carl Douglas. So the story is, he's a session singer working in London, and he was walking through Soho, and he saw some young men doing sort of kung fu moves, and he turned to his mate and he went, looks like everybody's kung fu fighting. And literally, oh, boom, we've got a song.
That's all it takes.
Yeah.
I mean, this song, James, what I love about this is on what I like to call my personal philosophy playlist, is sometimes if I'm working, say when we're doing stand-up gigs and I'm in some rough town at night, if I ever see a street fight, I sing this in my head if I'm far away enough from it. I mean, it's just one of those songs, isn't it, that you can pop up at the right time, anytime.
Yeah, and there's birthed a million memes and little comments. I mean, everyone's done the, surely not everyone was kung fu fighting.
Yes.
No, everybody was kung fu fighting. It's quite clearly in the lyrics, in this reportage of 1974.
Jinx5239 on YouTube says, my dad sings this song every time there's a fighting scene in a movie, no matter where we are.
Brilliant. I love that. Commitment to a bit.
God's Dope on YouTube says, my son started Kung Fu yesterday. Since I'm a good mum, I bit my tongue and decided not to accompany his return singing this song. But here I am now with the whole house to myself.
Are the lyrics to this song problematic?
No!
They're a little bit problematic. There's a few things in it which are a bit... I think it's that thing of, if something is broadly positive, can it be deemed racist?
We talked about this with Speedy Gonzales by Pat Boone, or Pat Boone, as we like to call him, for shits and giggles, as I say. But, yeah, go on. Why? Has anyone complained about this record, apart from yourself?
No one has really.
Well, all good then.
Funky Billy Chin and little Sammy Chung.
yeah. All that stuff.
Name-checked. There's a line about Funky Chinaman.
Yep, I liked it.
Can't really say that now.
He can, and he does, and he's also played all the time, isn't he?
There's a little bit of Orientalism going on. But it is fun. They do it in Kung Fu Panda.
Absolutely. I mean, while you're talking about the lyrics, it's in Kung Fu Panda, which, of course, you would imagine so, wouldn't you? I think CeeLo Green did a version of it, also a band called The Vamps. And what they did, both these versions, James, they changed the lyrics to essentially, you've got to be positive about your life. And hey, man, we're all here being beautiful diamonds. And then, of course, with Kung Fu fighting. It's not as good. The lyrics imply that, essentially, anyway.
Yeah.
Apparently, I learned on YouTube that this song was recorded in about 10 minutes and it was a B-side. You can sort of tell that because of the simplicity and the joy of it. They haven't worked too hard on it, and sometimes that's a good thing to do.
Yeah, the A-side was going to be a song called I Want to Give You My Everything, and the record company listened to it and went, no, we prefer the B-side, put that out. And they were right. However, in the first 5 weeks of release, it got no radio play at all.
Really?
Radio stations, again, what's this weird novelty record? We're not playing that. And then, as happened a lot, it started being played in the clubs, and people started hearing it. And
they were onto a brand new trip.
Yeah. Everyone was kicking from the hip. And then it gets to number one. Not only here in the UK, but in the United States as well. Carl Douglas is the first Jamaican-born singer to have a US number one. How many records do you think this sold worldwide?
I don't know, 8 million.
11 million.
Well done, Carl Douglas.
Yeah, very much like Rocky Baby. It's one of the biggest selling singles of all time.
I mean, he's an interesting fella, Carl Douglas. I feel you could be standing next to him in home base and you wouldn't recognise him. But if you put
Surely the pyjamas and the headband.
Well, absolutely. As soon as he puts on the pyjamas and the headband, you think there's Carl Douglas. I mean, this simple costume transforms him into a pop star. I will point out he's got a moustache, so he does look a bit of a bastard. But nonetheless, that's just my personal take.
This record produced by Biddu Apaya, who's from Bangalore. So it's an Indian guy producing it, a Jamaican British guy singing it about Chinese culture.
Yep.
It's like a distillation of multiculturalism. It's the kind of record that Nigel Farage would hate.
This is a good little bit of pettiness from Mind Up Station on YouTube. They say, fun fact, the lyrics that those cats were fast as lightning refers to how long the movie Cats stayed in theatres. So, I thought you'd enjoy that.
Oh, dear.
My favourite comment on YouTube, now get this, James.
Is it 0% sex, 0% drugs? Is it that one
Not
again?
this week. No. S2KR70 says, 7-year-old me after snapping a pencil in half with my hand. So,
that's one of the great things about this song is that the kids love it. And not just like teenagers, like kids from like 8. It's the kind of record that your nan could buy an 8-year-old.
I loved it as a 3 or 4-year-old. Like I say, I wasn't bothered about the charts. I didn't really know them. This impinged on my consciousness and immediately liked it. I went to see a film about Elvis Presley in about 1981. It's called This Is Elvis. Very good it is. I'd like to see it again. Nonetheless, when Elvis is doing all his judo, despite this film about being Elvis and Elvis's music, of course, and they're showing his clips of him doing judo with his mates. They play kung fu fighting. So even in 1981, it made its mark. Pranav Balasubramanian 8805. Get your head round this comment, James. They say the true meaning of the song lies in embracing personal strength and courage in the face of challenges. The repetitive phrase, everybody was kung fu fighting, underscores the idea that everyone has their own battles to fight, whether they're physical, emotional, or metaphorical. The song encourages listeners to find their inner strength and face life's adversities with determination and confidence. Right, so I love this comment, as you can imagine, with my pretensions. I thought, finally, a good YouTube comment that's really nailed the point of the music and this song. Yeah? And it's the sort of thing I would say on this podcast now and again, isn't it? But this has made me think, because it got 50 replies underneath this comment, right? Dylan Salah says, man's just copied and pasted the ChatGPT response into the comment section, LMAO. And then someone called SDJSSLKGS, blah, blah, that. They says, haha, you can interpret any song metaphorically, but this song is pretty clearly literally about Kung Fu. And then X Peter says, and the Itsy Bitsy Spider is about personal resilience, overcoming obstacles. Doesn't mean it's worth writing a thesis on, though.
If someone wants to write a thesis about kung fu fighting, then I say we let them.
So, all good stuff in it. People reacting to the nature of pop music and specifically kung fu fighting.
Have you ever done kung fu or any martial art?
No, I did it once. I did judo once as a young boy, and I didn't like it, and I vowed never to go again because everyone was trying to throw me on the floor and hurt me.
That's what judo is, mate.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Yep.
Have you ever done kung fu?
Not kung fu. I have done tai chi, the incredibly slow-moving martial art where you don't have to touch anyone and you go at your own pace. And I found it very relaxing.
Yes, good for the core.
No one's done a song called Everybody's Doing Tai Chi Slowly. Those cats were barely moving.
Come on, James, we can end it. Everybody
was doing Tai Chi slowly. Those cats were barely moving. Everybody was really old.
They had no more life left worth proving. Anyway, apologies for that. What did you make of this week's top 10, James? Just as a general thing, I'm going to come out and say it straight away. I had it on plenty. Also, the 6 songs we're about to discuss for Patreon members, great as well. I had no trouble finding songs that were never made the top 10 that were excellent. I could pop them up, no problem. I've loved listening to this top 10 this week.
There's a lot going on, isn't there, in this top 10. But let me ask you this, Andy. Of all the artists we've talked about in the top 10, who was the one-hit wonder?
I would imagine it's Carl Douglas.
Nope. I know, I said he got to number 35 with Dance the Kung Fu. He had another song as well.
So you did. All right, then. This is a good question. Well, it wasn't... Let's reiterate. It wasn't Cozy Powell.
Nope.
Because he had Dancing with the Devil. It wasn't Casey Sunshine Band. We've had them a lot. It wasn't Barry White. He had loads. It wasn't Alvin Stardust. He had loads. It must have been Sylvia.
Nope. She had another couple of hits. One was called Hasta La Vista.
Right.
Yep.
Following the thing. It wasn't Donnie Marie. Can't have been Johnny Bristol.
No, Johnny Bristol had a couple of songs.
John Denver?
Yes, technically, John Denver is a one-hit wonder in the UK because Annie's song is the only single he ever released here.
Wow.
Has that rocked your world? Has it blown your mind?
It's blown my tiny mind.
Our listeners will know that, yes, he did have a duet with Placido Domingo in 1981. They got to number 46 called Perhaps Love. But that wasn't John Denver on his own, was it? So he is technically a one-hit wonder.
What was your favourite? If you had to, which you do.
Oh, it's Can't Get Enough of Your Love by Barry White. It's the best one.
Will.
You? What are you picking?
Let's go for the one-hit wonder John Denver, just because it surprised me how much I've loved it this week. But, I don't like to distinguish between any of these records. They're all great. Like I say, you can listen to it. You don't even have to listen to Aviva Espana on the Spotify. Maybe that would disturb it, maybe not. But I always like a bit of whimsy in the top 10, so I miss that being even on the Spotify playlist.
We like the top 10s to be a broad church of all kinds of things.
Yeah.
We hope you have enjoyed listening to this. If you have, please do rate and review where you get your podcast from.
And subscribe and follow and share and all these other words that I hear James people say. I mean, we don't like to be so needy, but you know the deal by now. You exist in the world of the internet and podcasts. You know why we're asking.
I mean, the subtext is we are quite needy.
Oh, yeah.
And we were two middle-aged men who meet in a shed every Monday doing this.
That's no bad thing, though. I mean, I listened to glorious pop music this week. Check out the Spotify Top 10 playlist and the YouTube one if you want to see some absolute chances. I don't mean that. They're all great musicians this week.
And don't forget, we have bonus tracks, 6 songs that aren't in the top 10, that never get into the top 10, and it's a really good collection this week, including a song with a dirty word in it, and also a reference to what might be the most pressed vinyl record of all time.
Intriguing. We would like to thank the record buying public of 1974 for putting these records in the top 10. We'd like to thank you especially for listening and, join in. By all means, contribute. And obviously, I'm leaving it all up to you, but please, 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 don't forget to Shooby Dooby Doo up.
Bop bop shoe up. I don't think I mentioned it at the time. Barry White wrote and produced Can't Get Enough of Your Love, Babe. Can't get enough of your love, babe. Fuck off. Why has that made you laugh so much?
I don't know. It's like the idea of calling that record from now on.